Hi guys, this video is going to be a half and half high-end drugstore thing, half high-end, half drugstore makeup tutorial. The only thing that I don't have in this video is the powder, but everything else in this video is half and half. So if you want to see what products I used and how I got this makeup look, then keep watching. I feel like with this lens, because I'm literally like an arm's distance away from it now instead of it being like far away and zoomed in, I feel like it makes my face look bigger. It's just like a weird angle. So to start, I have two colour correcting products. The first one is by Becca, which is obviously the high-end side, which I think I'm going to do on the left-hand side of my face. And then the drugstore side I'm going to do on the right-hand side of my face. The only high-end item that I don't have is powder, so I'm sorry about that, but the rest of this video is like, you know, half and half. So the colour corrector from Becca is the peach one. It's the under eye brightening corrector, and this just looks like this. I got this in a set on Cult Beauty, which came with a highlight as well. And the dupe that I actually have is the Freedom Pro Correct palette. This was actually the only correcting thing that I had that had like a peach colour in it. Okay, so there we go. I feel like the Freedom one was a bit darker. The Becca one is more brightening, but I feel like this one actually had a little bit more coverage though. So moving on to foundation. The high-end foundation that I have is the Kat Von D Lock It foundation. Mine is in the shade Light 44. This is my absolute favourite foundation ever. You can get it on Debenhams. It's £27, which is quite pricey, but I got it when it had like 10% off, I think. So just look out for deals and stuff. And yeah, this is the only high-end foundation that I have, and I absolutely love it. It is like full coverage. It lasts all day. I have super oily skin and this is incredible. The only slight issue is I think it breaks me out, but the last time I actually wore it to BeautyCon it didn't break me out, so maybe my skin's got used to it, I don't know. And then I actually have two foundations which kind of dupe this, but I'm only going to be using one. The first one is the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation. I would use this, but I don't know if you can tell, it's way too dark for me. This is in the shade 01 Creamy Vanilla. This does have really good coverage, but it's not as long lasting. It's the foundation that I'm going to be using, which is my favourite drugstore foundation, which is the one that lasts the longest on me. But this is the the Revlon Colour Stay 24-hour foundation for combination to oily skin, and mine is in the shade 150 Buff. And they're not exactly the same. The Kat Von D one definitely has better coverage, but this is my favourite drugstore foundation, and that is my favourite high-end foundation, and they both last super long on my face. So this is what the Kat Von D one looks like. As you can see, it's got really good coverage. I'm hoping the colours are going to match. So I think the Revlon one is a tiny little bit darker, and as you can see it's not quite as full coverage. So moving on to concealer, I don't actually have a full-size high-end concealer. I'm sorry, I just don't feel the need to buy one right now, but I do have this sample of the Becca Aqua Luminous Perfecting Concealer, so I'm going to give this a go, obviously on the high-end side, and then I'm going to use my Collection Lasting Perfection on this side. I love this stuff, and this is the reason why I haven't really felt the need to buy a high-end one, because this one works really well for me. I feel like this is a bit too dark for me. It's kind of like a bit orangey, so I'd probably need the shade Porcelain. This is the shade Fair. That definitely did a nice job. I'm just going to put this like all the way down my nose because I can't really do half and half on my nose. Obviously around the sides I did half and half, but yeah. I'm going to put it down the middle. Okay, so there we go. I feel like, to be honest, right now you can't really tell the difference between both sides. So I'm just going to powder my face using my NYC Smooth Skin Setting Powder. I'm sorry that I don't have a high-end powder, but if anybody has any suggestions for one that isn't too expensive, then let me know, or the one that does like a really good job, because so far I don't have one. So in terms of eyebrow products, I have the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in the shade Taupe, and I have the Freedom Eyebrow Pomade in the shade Taupe. And the Freedom one is my absolute favourite eyebrow product. As you can see, mine is really looking a bit gross. I'm just going to show you guys a new Freedom one because my one is so like messed up. It's a bit old and manky, but I do actually have a pretty new one of the Freedom one. So hopefully you guys can see, this is the Anastasia one and this one here is the Freedom one here. And then here is my current Freedom one once it's been all used versus the Anastasia one. To be honest, I kind of prefer the Freedom one. It's more like ashy. Oh, I feel like this eyebrow is going so wrong. feel like the Freedom one is definitely a lot thicker, but that could just be because mine is really old. For some reason there's just something I like better about this one. I think it's a slightly better colour. I don't know, this one's just coming across a tiny bit more warm. Okay, so moving on to the face, like contour, blush, highlight, that kind of stuff. I actually have a couple dupes here to show you guys. So firstly, I have two dupes for the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer. So it's this one here. I have it in the form of the Nikki Tutorials palette. I just jabbed that like right into my nose, but it smells like chocolate. It smells so yummy. The dupe that I have for it, I don't think you can get anymore, but if anyone has this Kiko bronzer, it's called the Outdoor Bronzer in Speedy Sienna. This actually smells like chocolate and it's like the same colour as the Too Faced one. So here they are next to each other. But if you don't have that one, then this one by MUA, which is the Bronzed Perfection Matte Bronzer. This colour is like really similar to the Too Faced one. So those are those two there. But the ones I'm actually going to be showing you guys today on my face, because it's my favourite dupe ever, is Makeup Geek versus Freedom. This one and this one are by Makeup Geek, and the rest of the ones that you see here are by Freedom. And honestly, I prefer the formula of the Freedom ones. They're easier to blend. I don't really know why, but the Freedom ones are like £3, the Makeup Geek ones are like £10, I think. Oh, by the way, the one I'm using is called Love Triangle, and it's the warm porcelain colour. For some reason, I don't know if you guys can see, but I find that this just doesn't blend as well. Look, it's kind of like collected here on my cheek. Some people find that these work really well, but on me, I just can't get them to work. I'm now going to use the Freedom one, and this one is in Contour 03, and the other one that I'm going to be dipping into, which is a tiny bit darker, is Contour 04, and these are my new favourite things at the moment. I absolutely love them. Yeah, this one just blends a lot better on my face. I don't know if it's the foundation I use or what, I don't know. My contouring did not go well today. Oh well. So moving on to blush. What I'm going to be using today is the NARS blush in the shade Gulu. Okay, I have no idea how you pronounce this, but it will be listed in the description box down below. This blush looks like this. It's kind of like a pinky colour with, it's got gold shimmers in it. I don't know how well you can tell right now, but the dupe that I found for this is the Soap & Glory Made You blush in the shade Twinkle Rose. And this one is a tiny bit of a brighter pink, but on the face they look pretty similar, and this one has gold glitters in it as well. Okay, so the Soap & Glory one. Honestly, I can't really tell the difference between these two. I think they're both really pretty. So the last step of the face is highlight, which is obviously my favourite step. This is a brand new purchase of mine. I've never used it on my face before, but I've been doing some swatches like all morning. This is the Becca Moonstone Highlight. It came in the colour correcting set that I was talking about earlier. It's just kind of pale yellowy sort of highlight. It's really pretty, like from the hand swatches. And the two dupes that I have for this one are Colourpop Super Shock Cheek in Stole the Show, which is another kind of pale yellowy one. And then this one is the Freedom Pro Highlight in the shade Glow. So this is what these two look like next to each other. And then the Colourpop one looks like this. And this brush is my new favourite highlight brush. It's the Zoeva Luxe Powder Fusion brush. Oh, that is so pretty. Ooh. I really hope you guys can see this. That is so beautiful, oh my goodness. So I'm going to use the Freedom one as it's a bit easier to get hold of here in the UK, but if you're in the US then the Colourpop one will be another good dupe. Okay, this one is definitely more yellow toned. Did you guys hear that? I just dropped a highlight on the floor and it's upside down and I don't want to pick it up. Oh my god. I literally dropped this from like the top shelf of my Alex drawer and it fell on the floor. My floor is wooden and it didn't smash. So I decided to switch to my new look Pure Colour highlighter in light pink, because on the face I feel like this one looks like more of a dupe. I'm just going to put the Becca one on my nose and my Cupid's bow just because I can't really use both. Oh, this is such a pretty highlight. Okay, so that's the high-end side. And that is the drugstore side. For my high-end side, I have the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. I got this from America, but they do sell it on Beauty Bay and Cult Beauty every so often. It was in stock on Beauty Bay the other day, but it obviously went out of stock within like a couple of hours. So I recommend if you want to get hold of this to sign up to like their newsletters or something, and they will email you when it's back in stock. But I will leave the links down below anyway, just because, like, I don't know, maybe on the day that I'm posting this, they might have restocked them, who knows. And then the drugstore version is the Makeup Revolution Neutrals versus Neutrals palette. I just want to say the brush in the Anastasia one is incredible. As you can see, they're both very kind of like pinky orangey toned palettes. They're not exact dupes of each other, but this is like the best one that you're going to find in the drugstore if you're looking to dupe this. So I'm using this colour here from the Makeup Revolution palette. Good pigmentation. Yeah, by the way, I've never used this Makeup Revolution palette before, so I'm just kind of making this up as I go along. Then from the Anastasia palette, I'm taking a mixture of the shade Warm Taupe and Buon Fresco, this purpley one here. This Anastasia palette is the most pigmented eyeshadow palette ever. If you're looking to get this palette and you're not sure, I say get it. It's the best quality eyeshadow palette I've ever owned in my entire life. Okay, so I think I'm going to dip back into the Makeup Revolution palette and use a bit of this colour here, which is like a really good dupe of the purple one in the Anastasia palette. Don't know if you guys can tell. So far the Makeup Revolution one is a bit like lighter and more kind of purpley toned. And then I'm going to use a bit of Real Gar, this orange one from this palette. And then in the Makeup Revolution palette I'm going to use this one here. Oh my god, I literally just dipped my brush in that the tiniest little bit. By the way, in between like dipping into each of the palettes, I'm cleaning my brush off on my leg. I'm just adding a bit more of that to the outer corner. Hey, they actually look really similar right now. Okay, so I'm obviously gonna have to test the pink colour in this. So in here is called Venetian Red. There's also another one called Love Letter. And in the Makeup Revolution palette, there are these two colours here, which are the kind of pinky toned ones. So I'm just gonna put a bit of Venetian Red on the outside of my eye. Oh, it's so pigmented. Okay, then let's test the Makeup Revolution one. Okay, so it's not as pigmented, but it's a very similar colour. I'm just going to blend those out with a clean brush. Then I'm just taking a bit of this colour from the Anastasia one called Cypress Umber, and I'm just going to put the tiniest bit of this on the outer corner. As much as I love these colours, they're almost too pigmented. Like, you have to be really careful. Okay, then I'm taking the dark brown from the Makeup Revolution one as well. So this is the gold in the Anastasia one, and this is the one in the Makeup Revolution one, so they're not really comparable at all. The Makeup Revolution one is a lot more of a coppery gold. So I'm just going to go in with my Collection Eyes Uncovered palette. This is the nude bronze one, and I'm going to take this gold colour here because it's a lot more similar. This palette is like $2 or $3.99 or something. So I'm putting the Anastasia one on first. Oh, that's so pretty. And then I'm going in with the Collection one on the other eye. I think I'm just going to go over this side with this colour from the Makeup Revolution palette. So on my inner corners, I'm just going to take this colour here, and then from the Makeup Revolution palette, I'm taking this colour here. Oh, that might have been a bit too much. So for eyeliner, for the high-end side, I have the Kat Von D ink liner, and then on my drugstore side, I have my Super Cat Skinny Liner by Soap & Glory, which is the skinny version of the original Super Cat. Okay, so I'm just going to add a tiny bit of glitter, and the two that I have that are actually really similar colours are the Makeup Geek Sparkler in the shade Asteroid. This is a really new purchase, and then also the Collection Glam Crystals Gel Eyeliner in the shade Funk. They're really similar shades of gold, so I'm just going to put a bit of each on my inner corners. So So we are nearly done. For the drugstore side, I'm using the Miss Sporty Pump Up Booster Mascara, and for the high-end side, I'm using the Stila Huge Lash Extreme Lash Mascara thing. Obviously, these will be linked down below as well. And the reason I picked these two is because they have a kind of similar shaped brush. Yeah, hopefully you guys can see they have a pretty similar shaped brush, so I just wanted to see how they compared. Okay, so after a little bit of building from the Miss Sporty one, I think, like, I can't really tell the difference. This mascara, the Stila one, is £18, the Miss Sporty one is like £3 or something. I think it's a really great drugstore mascara. It required a little bit of building and it can go a little bit clumpy, but personally I quite like clumpy lashes, so that's just me. The final stage is the lips. I'm really sorry if this video is super long. I've been filming for an hour and a half now, so I'm gonna have to try and cut it down. So for the high-end side, I have the Kylie Cosmetics liquid lipstick in the shade Leo, and for the drugstore side, I have the Sleek Matte Me in the shade Vinto Vinto. These aren't identical, but on the lips, they are super similar. This one is a tiny bit more kind of like a reddy browny dark colour, and this one is a tiny bit more purple, but they are very similar. Okay, so that is the finished look. I've just taken off my headband. In all honesty, right now I cannot really tell the difference. So that is the finished look, you guys. I hope you guys have found this helpful. I just said you guys twice. If you did find this video helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up. All of the products will be linked in the description box down below, so check those out if you're interested. And yeah, what else do I need to say to end this video? If you aren't already subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would subscribe. I hope you're all having a lovely day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!